The cake knife rested in my palm as she got to her feet. Her words sliced through the cheerful noise like shattering glass. "This boy," she announced, hoisting the toddler up like some kind of trophy, "isn't only mine. He belongs to your late husband too." Everything stopped. The laughter died. Even the little one went quiet, as though sensing the bomb that had just been dropped. Then came her second strike. "And about the inheritance, I'm entitled to half of that $800,000 property. Right here," she said, flourishing a document folder like she'd already won. "The paperwork proves it." I looked at her standing there. My own sister, my flesh and blood. My husband hadn't even been buried a full month. And here she was, already dividing up what she thought was hers. I had to bite down hard to keep from laughing out loud, because what she didn't realize was that she just walked straight into a trap. I'd spent years preparing. When I first met him, I was only 22. He felt like home, or at least that's what I convinced myself to believe. Strong presence, unwavering gaze, promises that sounded eternal. The way he looked at me made me feel like something valuable, something irreplaceable. So I said yes. I married him because his words felt true. And my sister? She was always nearby, always grinning a little too brightly whenever he was around. I chalked it up to her personality. She'd always been that way since we were kids, craving attention like she couldn't breathe without it. But you're supposed to forgive family, right? So I forgave the lingering eye contact, the inside jokes that went on too long, the way conversations would suddenly halt when I walked into the room. When you trust someone, you're basically choosing to wear a blindfold. The signs were subtle at first. Late nights at the office became routine. His shirt started smelling like someone else's fragrance. His phone stayed locked. He stopped meeting my gaze. One evening, he walked through the door looking completely undone. His shirt collar damp with perspiration. I didn't ask questions. I simply observed, because sometimes watching tells you more than any interrogation ever could. Then I found the text message. My sister had gotten sloppy, or maybe just cocky. It was sitting there on his phone screen. "Be more careful next time. Don't leave jewelry lying around." She nearly noticed. The jewelry. The same necklace I'd seen hanging around her throat at Mom's birthday celebration. My heart fractured in that instant. Sure, but the tears never came. I didn't yell or throw things. Instead, I smiled. Because that moment marked the end of my grief and the beginning of my strategy. Most women shatter when they discover this kind of deception. I did the opposite. I became focused, calculating. Every sentence I spoke to him afterward, every friendly gesture toward her, was another thread in the web I was spinning around them both. I started meeting with attorneys in secret. Discreetly, I discovered things he assumed. I was too naive to understand. Hidden bank accounts overseas, mounting debts, a revised estate document he'd signed without really reading it. Why didn't he read it? Because I'd placed it in front of him with an affectionate kiss and a distraction. Yes, I worked with my lawyer to create it. I tucked it between other papers. He was too preoccupied to pay attention. The document she was counting on? It didn't grant her a single penny. Instead, every asset was legally bound to me, airtight, unbreakable. I let him think he was getting away with something. I let her believe victory was within reach. That's what makes revenge so satisfying. The stillness right before everything collapses. His heart gave out without warning. I dressed in mourning clothes. My expression remained frozen, emotionless. I moved through the funeral arrangements like I was on autopilot. People commented on my strength, my loyalty. Meanwhile, she sobbed louder than anyone else, cradling that child like a theatrical prop, playing the role of heartbroken sister mourning her forbidden love. Her act might have convinced everyone else. It didn't fool me for a second. Standing at the burial site, watching her performance, something became crystal clear. Sorrow looks completely different when it's tangled up with greed. So there we were, my husband freshly buried. My sister parading his illegitimate child around like a winning lottery ticket. Everyone in that room expected me to fall apart. They were waiting for hysteria or tears. Instead, I simply leaned back in my seat and whispered, "I understand now," and I smiled. Because in that precise moment, I was the only person who knew what was about to unfold. 2 weeks passed before she made her official move. She presented the will to her attorney, demanded her 50%. Her lawyer examined the document once, then again, his complexion turning pale. "This isn't what you believe it to be," he stammered. Why? Because the paperwork she was clutching was nothing but a fake. A preliminary draft she was never supposed to discover. The actual legal document was secured elsewhere. Properly signed, officially witnessed, and absolutely explicit. Everything belonged solely to me. Every last cent, Every square foot of that property. Her attorney spelled it out for her slowly, as if explaining to someone who couldn't comprehend basic language. Her hands started shaking. She screamed about forgery, about deception. I remained perfectly still, posture relaxed, and said calmly, "Maybe think twice before making public announcements. People might begin wondering why that boy bears such a striking resemblance to my deceased husband." Her expression crumbled. Because that was the second part of my plan. Legal victory was just the beginning. Social annihilation was the finale. The rumor spread like wildfire. Friends, extended family, people in the neighborhood. Nobody regarded her the same way afterward. The invitations stopped coming. Photos of her child's birthday parties became subjects of whispered gossip. She wasn't a proud parent anymore. She'd become the woman who backstabbed her own sister and carried on an affair with her brother-in-law. She showed up at my door one night, long after dark. Her eyes were red and puffy. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. She pleaded, "Please stop this. He's innocent in all of this. Don't destroy our lives." I looked at her carefully. This woman who used to be the girl I shared childhood secrets with, who used to braid my hair when we were small. "You destroyed yourself," I replied. My tone was measured. Even